Hey guys, I had some people reaching out about protein, having some questions about how much do I take? Is there any issues with timing? What type of protein do I need to take? Are there any changes that happen as I get older? So I thought I'd hop on a video and give you some quick answers. Right. Like usual, if you can, show your boy a little bit of love. Give me some likes, some comments, subscribe. That way, then the algorithm knows that I'm providing you some good value, and we can make sure that we get more of this out to everybody else. So when it comes to protein, there's a few things that's really important for you to understand. One of the things that you've always heard is you are what you eat. Well, your protein is one of those deals. The more protein you have, that's going to be better because your protein is what your body is going to use to help rebuild itself when you're working out. Your protein is what your body uses to build muscle. Carbs, fat, when you're looking at the macronutrients, it's only protein, carbs, and fat. Carbs and fat, your body's not going to be able to use to build muscle. So if you want to get leaner, if you want to have a better body, if you actually even want to have better cognitive function, you're going to want to make sure that you get enough protein. Having protein is one of the most vital things that you can do when it comes to exercise, diet, and making sure you're getting the right nutrition. So this is one of those things where when you look at Luke chapter 14, we find some little added wisdom. Consider this like an Easter egg that God has left for you when it comes to your diet. Jesus tells us to count the cost. He's talking about living a life worthy of him. He's talking about carrying your cross, and he says you need to make sure that you count the cost so that you're able to finish the task. That if you are getting ready to build a tower, don't you not count the cost and see if you're able to complete it? Well, if you look at your body like that tower, we need to be counting the cost. We need to look at what types of building blocks do we need to put in our body. That's going to be the protein. How much protein does your body need in order for you to make sure you have what you need to complete whatever task? If you're building muscle, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're getting ready to go and run a marathon, you need to know exactly how much protein you should be eating on a daily basis. So that way, then you know if you're hitting your goal or if you're not hitting your goal. Because your goals are going to be like targets. If you don't know what you're aiming at, you're going to miss it every single time. Because you can be aiming at anything and you're just playing a guessing game. It's going to be important to know how much protein you need to have, depending on what your task is. The more resistance training you're doing, the more heavy lifting you're doing. If you're into bodybuilding and things like that, you're going to be wanting to go higher on that scale. If you're more into endurance, if you're running long, or you're not really doing a whole lot, you're just maintaining, a little less protein is going to be okay. You can supplement more of your meals with carbs and healthy fats. Bear in mind, whenever I'm talking about fats, I'm never talking about the junk food. I'm never talking about the grease and all of that stuff you're supposed to be avoiding. No matter what, bar none, bad fats, what you want to avoid, but the healthy fats, things like olive oil or you're looking at avocados, that's going to be the healthy fats. Your body's going to need that. All right, so those are going to be the good things that you have in addition to your protein. When it comes to protein, your good sources of protein are always going to be in the powdered form. You're looking at whey protein is going to be the top. You'll have your casein protein, which is good. It's going to be less of an absorption rate, which means your body's not going to take as much of it, and it's not going to take as much of it as fast. So you may have seen me promoting this protein by M-Drive. That protein is going to be your whey protein. That's going to be very lean. It's going to be very healthy. Your body's going to absorb more of that than a casein protein, and your body's going to take it really, really quick. That's the type of protein that's going to be excellent as a post-workout or even a pre-workout shake. All right, so those are the things that you'll want to look for in a protein shake if you're looking at having it as a before or after workout supplement. When it comes to the non-powdered forms of protein, looking at chicken is going to be always one of the good ones. Turkey is going to be healthy as long as you're not eating way too much of it if you're a male, because you have to realize that turkey is oftentimes injected with hormones. That's going to be the estrogen. A little bit for a man isn't going to hurt, right? But if you're eating nothing but turkey, that's probably going to be a bad thing. But you can always substitute that with, like I said, chicken. You can have your lean or healthy beef. Pork also is actually a good form of protein, but fish is going to be very good for you. especially if you're looking at salmon or the healthy freshwater fish. Those are going to be excellent and extremely low on fat. If you're looking at those types of proteins, always make sure that you're getting some carbs with them. Because if you eat some carbs, I'm not talking about going over and beyond. I'm not talking about going crazy and having tons of baked pasta with your chicken or anything like that. But I'm saying that if you have enough in moderation, having some carbs is going to actually help your body absorb some of that protein, which is what you want. We talked a little bit before about absorption rates. So those are going to be things that are helpful for you. When we're looking at the whey protein and the proteins that derive from animal fats, those are going to be your complete proteins. Those are going to be helpful for you. That's going to be something where you don't need any other supplement. But if you're a vegetarian, if you're vegan, if you're looking for the non-animal sources of protein, you're talking about chickpeas, lentils, grains, and all of that sort of stuff, you're going to be looking at incomplete proteins, in which case you're going to really want to make sure that you're monitoring which sources you're getting for your protein and make sure that you have them mixed so that you're able to get that full complete protein. Just because you're eating a vegetarian lifestyle does not mean that you can't have complete protein, but that does mean you need to vary the sources of protein so that you have something complete. Of course, also, animal protein, your body is going to absorb that a lot better and a lot better rate. So it's going to be a whole lot better in terms of digesting and bang for your buck. For me, I tend to feel a lot better whenever I have animal protein. My cognitive function's better. I feel a whole lot better overall, and I see a lot better results. So animal protein is what I tend to go for. When we're looking at your overall weight loss journey or overall fitness plan, well, protein is going to be very helpful in a few different things. One, your satiety, or basically how full you feel. Your body is going to feel more full the more protein you get. So if you have a protein-rich diet, you'll notice you won't have as many hunger cravings, and you'll notice you won't need to eat as much in order to feel full. So if you're trying to lose weight, that's going to be something that's very helpful for you, getting a good amount of protein. One of the complaints that I tend to have from my clients is that when they're trying to lose weight, they don't want to worry about feeling hungry. So eating a good amount of protein is going to be one of those things that's helpful. You want to make sure that if you're on a good nutrition plan, that you have some protein spaced out throughout the day, not because you need it in terms of timing, but you want to make sure that you have it in order to help keep you from feeling hungry all the time. If you have some protein-rich snacks in between some of your meals, that's going to be something that helps you adhere to your diet plan a whole lot better. Protein is also something that's really going to help out your metabolism from two different things. Protein in and of itself helps boost metabolism because it actually has more of a thermogenic effect than fats and carbs, and also it helps to stimulate a higher metabolism overall. But also, when we're looking at weight loss, as you're losing weight, you want to make sure that you're maintaining a good amount of muscle mass. Protein is going to help you do that. And the more muscle mass that you have overall, the higher your metabolism is going to be. Protein is one of those things that I always suggest people tend to focus on. This isn't just one of those bro science type of deals, but this is actual science. Numerous studies have all of these things backed up. So protein is one of your top building blocks. So when we're looking at what you have to do in order to make it to your goal, count that cost. Like Luke 14 says, count your protein, look at how much protein you're actually eating throughout a day, and I will guarantee you it will be an eye-opener for you, and it will help you know what you have to do better so that you can reach your goals. Because once you're able to set a plan in motion, it makes things 10 times easier. That's why when we're looking at Proverbs 21, there is some huge wisdom in that, because it says that the plans of the diligent surely lead to advantage. This isn't just being diligent, and this isn't just spinning your wheels and going out and trying to find any other kind of fad and moving forward, or just hitting the gym with no kind of plan, but it's having the plan for the diligent. So it's making sure that you know that you need to stay busy, but you also know that what you're doing is going to be helpful for you. So set a plan for your protein intake, set a plan for your overall meal intake, and that's going to make things 10 times easier. I highly encourage you, track your meals. If you don't know what you're eating, then you don't know what's going on in your body, and you don't know what you're working with. If you do that, it will give you a much greater awareness. And is it going to be necessary for you to track your meals all the time for the rest of your life? Not necessarily. As time goes, you may know a little bit better. Okay, this is what I need to eat each day. You're able to plan around that. And again, those plans for the diligent are going to give you that advantage in terms of reaching your goal. So that is a strong recommendation and a pro tip that I would give you. When we're looking at protein overall throughout the day, as I alluded to before, there was a thing where people were talking about protein timing. Do you need to make sure that you eat within 15 minutes, 30 minutes of you working out? Not necessarily. You want to make sure that you focus on your protein overall. This gives you a little more flexibility in terms of your overall diet from day to day, and this gives you a little more flexibility over your schedule. So that is something that you can use to your advantage. If, hey, you're noticing you wake up in the morning, you're feeling really hungry, it's easier to eat, but then afternoon time comes, you start getting real busy, and you have this 4 to 6 hour gap where you're not eating anything. Well, that is going to matter in terms of your protein intake. If you're looking at hours instead of minutes, then yes, the amount of protein that you're getting in that span, a larger span, is going to matter. But you want to make sure that you're getting a good plan so that it's easier for you to ingest it. While we're talking about timing and when you're eating protein throughout the day, one of my other big recommendations that I tend to give my clients is make sure that you eat some protein in the morning. Have something for breakfast. There's a reason why it's called breakfast. While you're asleep, you are technically on a fast. You have a lot of people who are really big on intermittent fasting. Well, you have to understand that your sleep schedule is a part of your fasting. So breakfast is breaking that fast. So as you break the fast, you want to make sure that you're getting what your body needs. And remember, it needs protein above and beyond anything else. That's what you use as the building blocks for your muscles, for your skeletal system. That is the thing that you're going to need to rebuild yourself. So make sure you're getting enough protein, especially in the morning, which is not always easy to do. Oftentimes, they'll have us eating oatmeal, which can still be good, but they'll have us eating a lot of carb-heavy foods. But if you're not providing enough protein in there, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So make sure that as you're eating, even if you're getting oatmeal, if you're eating whatever type of cereal, make sure you're getting sufficient protein to help kickstart your day. Sometimes people will ask me, what are some of the things that hinder your absorption of protein? Well, there's going to be a few factors that are really important. One, as I've been stressing, make sure you're getting enough protein. If you're not, that's going to hinder how your body is able to absorb it. Overall, you want to look at your total gut health. Okay, if you're starting to notice that as you're eating, you're having some muscle cramps or you end up having some stomach aches, then you're going to want to get that checked out. You're going to want to see some changes you may have to make in your diet in order to improve that, because that's also going to improve how your body is absorbing that protein. Resistance training is something that is huge. I'm especially talking to the women here. Resistance training is going to be important. Don't just spend your entire time on a treadmill. In fact, I tend to say limit that to about 10 to 15 minutes because you're doing a huge disservice, but that's for another video. But you want to make sure that you've got a good amount of resistance training going. Resistance training is going to prompt your muscles and prompt your body to absorb more protein and build itself in a very healthy way. Resistance training, the benefits to it are huge. Those things are things that you definitely do not want to ignore. The other thing that people tend to ignore is your sleep schedule. A lot of times we're so busy working, we're so busy doing whatever it is that we're doing, taking care of family, going out and having hobbies and things like that, that you're not getting sufficient sleep. You need to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep so that your body can absorb protein the right way. And when you are spending this time on your diet, you're getting what your body actually needs. If you're ingesting it, if you're taking the time to eat it, you want to make sure that your body actually gets it. So get adequate sleep. Stress is the other thing. You need to make sure that you're trying not to stress out. Remove some of those stresses that are in your life. Heck, go to the gym a little bit more. Make sure that you're meditating and reading on God's word so you can reduce your stress, because he says, I will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on me. So the more you're able to do that, the more you reduce your stress and the more you increase your gains. So that is an overall benefit from scripture that you may not have thought of, which is just a little bit of God's wisdom. And the last thing I want to mention also is your age. As you get older, your body is not going to absorb protein as well as it was before. So, as you get older, you may have to pay more attention to the protein that you're eating and making sure that you're getting an adequate supply because your body's not going to absorb it as well as before. Does that mean you need to make huge changes? Probably not. But does that mean you need to make some changes? Absolutely. So you want to pay attention to that. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to a dietitian or reach out to your medical professional, and they can give you the tests and guide you through that and see if that's going to be an issue. But if not, you focus on your protein, you do some of the things that I've told you and implement that, and I will guarantee you that you will see some results. So till then, appreciate all y'all tuning in. Stay fit and stay faithful.